Meredith.
Hello.
I honor you.
I honor you.
I am only going to speak like this the entire conversation. This is my real Bearzona. Meredith, where are you?
Like, I'm actually in a vacation rental, which was I rented it before I knew our Girls5eva schedule, but we're still sort of virtual. So I'm starting writing season 2 virtually from a little cabin in Fire Island.
In a distractingly beautiful place.
Distractingly beautiful place. And it's funny because I think I'm the only person trying to work out here, which is weird when everyone else is having vacation.
I always tend to find some way to time whenever I go. I'm trying not to do this as much as possible, but things would get delayed when you're supposed to be doing something, and then you go visit your parents, and then you're like, I'm not going to work while I'm there. Then you find out you have to have a deadline for something. And then you're
always
at your parents' house with the laptop, and they're like,
and they're like,
how are the dogs? And you're looking over your shoulder, and it's the worst.
And they're like, do you want to come to dinner? And you're like, yeah, I'll be at dinner. I'll be at dinner.
I'll be at dinner, but I may be in the bathroom at the restaurant on the toilet on my phone on Zoom. Which is a whole different kind of Zoom.
Where are you, by the way? I mean, you asked me. I gotta ask
the Hudson Valley. Well, not
it's beautiful.
Or what town?
Ferns. I see ferns behind you.
I moved to the East Coast, as you know. So I am. I'm here, and I had to laugh because I'm so used to being in LA and having everything have to do with time zones that I was trying to coordinate this and coordinate, shuffling around the schedule with you. And I just kept saying, like, in your time zone, is this all right? And then I just get a little text that's like, we're in the same time zone.
Aren't we both in New York?
We are.
I thought we were both in New York. Okay.
And I realized that I am indeed sleep deprived myself and don't know my head from my ass, as my family would say.
Well, sometimes the best stuff comes when you don't consult your brain at all and talk. Yeah. Like I call it mouth brain.
Oh my God.
Which is like, I feel like some of my best jokes come from my mouth brain, where I think I do not consult up here at all. It just goes, it shoots. I don't know where it shoots from, but it shoots from somewhere and out my mouth.
The best mouth brain I ever said was not quality of joke, but just hilarious, nonsensical, was Emily Spivey and I were writing, and we're in deep sleep depression, like sleep deprived. We're in deep sleep deprivation, and I'm laying on the couch in the office with her, and we're writing. We kept taking breaks and kind of dozing off. And then I just kept going, what is this character's front name? And she's like, what? And I go, what is this front name? She goes, what are you talking about? And I go, her front name. What is they're the Williams family something or whatever. What is her front name? And she's like, what is a front name?
Like a first name?
It was first name. And then I said second sister for older sister, or early sister for younger sister.
I find that the things that come out of most fully formed out of my mouth brain tend to be when we need a character name. It's just like,
oh God.
It's just like Freddie and Gloria. It's like whatever. It's
well, like, okay. Character name in Girls5eva, Fledge Mulholland is one of my favorite names I've ever in something.
That was 100% a blurt. First thought, not examined. I mean, it was at least supposed to be like her character's first thought.
I just love that a DGE at the end of something is the least sexy. Sorry, but there's sometimes people are named like Budge or Fudge. Their nicknames like Fudge. And it's just, it really stops in its tracks. It's like hitting mud. It just is not, it doesn't have a sexy flow to it. I did want to ask you a question that I don't think I've asked you before is, can you remember the moment that you first thought of this show? Like, can you remember it?
You know what? I do remember it because Okay. In New York City, there's this place called the Writers Room. Have you not
No,
the Writers? Okay. Have you ever heard of it?
no.
It's a silent writing space and everyone's in cubicles and you can belong to it as a membership. It's a nonprofit. And people like Lupita Nyong'o goes there. Greta Gerwig is written there. And then, but it's mostly, I've never seen either of them there. I just heard they go there. Some guy that wrote a Pixar movie is there. Never seen him. But the people that are there look like a lot of like people on deadlines that can't talk to each other and just like, but it's the best place to go to concentrate. And I was, I was on I think I was on either the end of Kimmy Schmidt, the interactive, or the beginning of Mr. Mayor. And no, it was the end of Kimmy Schmidt interactive. Anyway. And I was, taking some time just to like think of trying to develop. And I was just sitting there and I knew I wanted to write a show. I had known like from the beginning that I wanted to write a show about where like a bunch of women could be super funny. And then, but I couldn't like figure out, what's the backdrop, the setting, the kind of story engine that just revs it up and gives you a constant stream of patties to flip. And then I was just sitting there in this writer's space and I saw a headline about a Spice Girls reunion without Posh. And then I saw another one about the Backstreet Boys were doing a world tour. And then I just started being like, oh, that's interesting. And then I started searching around and I found all these other groups were reuniting, like, cause there's so much 90s nostalgia culture that's back. And so I just found there are all these groups like, I think I just spit at the camera. We'll see if that picks it up. But there was Pussycat Dolls did a recent tour, S Club 7, although they tour as S Club 3 now because they are down 4 members. But anyway, S
Club minus the asshole. That's the name of their group.
Yeah. And then like it just seemed like incredible. It was, when you get it, I mean, you're one of the greatest writers of all time, like comedy writers of all time. When you get an idea that you like, and then it just starts going like ping, 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 ping.
I call it percolating. Is it percolating in your, like a little coffee maker? It's like you planted it and it's like a little seed growing and then you'll just start getting these random thoughts.
Or it's like the hat Rick Moranis wears in Ghostbusters that lights up a bunch and then he sees the monster inside of him. But anyway, I just started writing down a million ideas and, and then I was just really excited by it. And I think I called a friend of mine after when I walked out and I was like, hey, Liz, I was like, is this a show? I think this is a show. And she's like, she's my most positive friend. So I always call her. She's like, it's a show. And then I brought it to Tina and Robert and they were also like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, part of it was also like Jeff, Jeff Richmond, our composer, one of the EPs on the show, was also one of the reasons why I thought I could even, attempt something like this, because I felt like we were always be in the safety net of his musical genius.
Brilliance. Yeah. I love the feeling of that percolating because I do feel like, and we used to always say this when we were trying to write a sketch on Tuesday night and it would get to be about 3 a.m. and the very favorite idea that we had was like dead in the water and we just kept beating it and kept trying to beat it into life and breathe life into it. And it was like, why can't we crack this? Why can't we?
Because it's funny.
It's not an idea that's good. That's what, easily crackable. And then you get that one thing that really does feel like it has its own life. And then it really does spin around in your head. And I just love when that as I've gotten older, I've had less of those feelings, but when I do have it now, it truly is a gift.
What have you had it on? I'm just curious if you recall.
I had an idea last year for a movie that I still haven't pitched or written, but it was an idea that just kind of was sparked by somebody that I saw on the internet or something that I thought was really funny, a young guy on the internet that I was like, it'd be funny. And then I just kind of started talking through it in my head. And then I was like, that's something that I would really actually really enjoy writing because writing is hard.
Writing is hard.
It's hard as
I
hell.
mean, that, like
So,
it's
and you know what?
amazing, but
It's
it's
not as
also,
hard as 9,000 jobs, by the way. So there are
of course, it's
900,000 jobs harder than writing. So I am in no way saying it's hard,
oh
but
my God,
it,
it's so hard.
it's a little bit torturous to you in terms of failure and self-doubt and all that, because you're constantly having that syndrome of like, I don't know how to do this. Like, how did I get in a situation where I even thought I could do this? And then you crack it and it happens and you go, oh, I can do this.
But it's there's always some sort of a little bit of magic that comes with it, where when you get into like a state where it starts flowing and you're not really sure how that happen. I mean, usually I just feel like you end up just having to like sit there and kind of make it, you know, come when the deadlines come. I don't know. Do you feel like your years at SNL where you have that Tuesday night where you stay up all night, did that kind of create a certain kind of method that you have where you torture yourself until
like
something's
that.
done?
I was the last minute Lucy of the century. My mother used to go insane with nerves where I'd be on my way to school in high school or probably even in grade school. And I was super creative and always doing, you know, art or doing music or doing, you know, wanting to write short stories or whatever it is. And I would be on my way to school and she'd just see me in the back scribbling on the back of a Walgreens receipt. And she's like, what are you doing? And I go, I have to do a speech in the first class. And I'm like, you know, drawing stuff at the stoplight and I'm trying to come up with, and when I got to SNL, it was like truly like, this is, we have fashioned a job specifically for your need to stay up all night, because I was a night owl.
I'm a huge night owl too.
Your complete addiction to adrenaline. And the fact that you get, you know, the fact that my fear always, I always worked in restaurants and a lot of cashier stuff at restaurants, because my fear always was to work in a mall where I worked in a mall, but I worked in a really fast-paced steakhouse. But my fear was always in a store where I had to stand and then people would come in and they'd look around and you'd be like, hi, I'm here if you need me. Like that pace makes my brain explode. And so, although as I get older, I'm kind of liking that pace, but I hated anything that like didn't have like instant gratification. Like when I first married Janine, we had this hilarious thing where she moved in with me, you know, the next day, because we're lesbians. So we got married and then she moved in. No, moved in the next day. Then we got married the next day. But anyway, we wanted to get a stereo in LA and we went to Amoeba, the big record store there, because they had the kind of stereos I wanted. And we were looking at the stereos and they had every stereo except the one that was definitely the one that we really wanted. That was like the perfect for us and all this. And it was just one of those moments where the roads diverged, where we realized this will be one of the differences in our personalities, is that I was just like, well, let's just get, I mean, that one's close enough. It's got some things. It's got, and she's like, she's like, I can get it in 3 days. I'll order it online and we can get exactly the one. And I'm like, all right.
We could be dead in 3 days.
Absolutely could not stand it. So long story short, I did go in, I landed at SNL with that feeling. Then I moved to LA and started writing on movies and stuff. And everything is so ungodly slow that, you know, you have to lie in order to get paid decently, because it was decently a word. I don't know.
Yeah, it is now.
You have to lie, because if they give you a task on, say, rewriting or something, and they're like, yeah, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. How long you think? Maybe like 6 weeks to do that? And I'd be like, yes.
And then 3 days before.
3 days before. So I've always been very last minute. And
me as well.
It always, you know, my therapist said one time, it works for you. It's not the healthiest thing for, you know, your brain and body sometimes to do that. But if it works for you creatively, it just might be the way your process is best. Because like artwork wise, if I do it last minute, it's always better. It's never good if I step things out slowly and go, today I'm going to do one page.
Well, also I envy those people that can do that, but I don't.
Yes.
I don't have that ability because to me, I don't think there's anything that's finished.
No.
So like I could work and obsess over this. If I had 1 year to write one line,
Yeah.
there's a world where I could spend all year doing it. Like I need deadlines in order
Especially
to make
with
things.
comedy, because you get sick of the joke. You
Then
laugh
it's
really
lateral
hard at
move
something that
city.
you love and you go, I love this. I love this joke. Then you
Mm.
read it a bunch of times. Then you read it to someone a bunch of times for reaction. Then you call your mom and you go, what do you think about this? Oh, that's funny. Or my mother would say, that's cute. And then I go, cute in what
Cute.
way?
Ah.
Then I'd hang up and just be like, why did she say it was cute? Why didn't she laugh at that? I thought she'd laugh at that. And then your brain just starts into the spin. So you're right. If you do it last minute, then you don't have time because you have to hand it in. So you have to just do it and make it. I mean, I love to rewrite it last minute where it's better. You know, I love to edit it down. Like I enjoy rewriting other people's stuff. I like being able to make it better and boil it down. But if you have too much time, if you do it too early, I get sick of my own shit. Like I just read it and go, this isn't even that funny anymore.
And with, you know, like the difference from, because I worked at the Colbert Report for so long and that had instant gratification city. So you come in, you screen pitches and then you write a bunch and then you see it on the air or you don't. And then you always have tomorrow. And then going into scripted, the pace is much more glacial. So you just sort of start to adjust where your satisfaction comes from.
Yes.
And then, but then I find you do have to ask yourself, like, am I just making lateral moves because I have the time?
Yes.
Is it funnier? And you just have to like try to trust that the thing that made 10 people laugh or whatever in the room is still funny. It's just that you've read it 80 times.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. You can come up with many funny, I mean, when we sit at writers' tables, you can come up with 5 great jokes for something if you have a bunch of funny people at the table, but you just have to pick the one right then that you like. You know, it's like 5 different great ice creams, and which one do you want to have today? So just pick it for this.
And then I have to say, it was also really nice to have, like, one of the dreams of having you in the cast of Girls5eva is that you have such a writer brain. And so on set, like there's so many lines that you just like turned up and made so much funnier with just like all the time. Like it was just such a gift.
The joy of getting those scripts and having zero need to turn anything up was really a gift. And so, you know, occasionally that something would just occur to me as like an option for something, or I'd think of a funny physical thing I might be able to pull off while I'm doing it. So it would be thrown in there. But it was so nice to just get scripts that were already hilarious and we're just all, because then you just don't have to worry about it. And you know, because the writer, I always feel like a writer is like a parent and they're worrying about 50,000 things at once. And when you're acting, you know, you worry about your own performance and whether you know your lines and whether you can be good at it and do it. And that's your responsibility in your bubble. And of course, you know, relate to other people and like make it funny as a group. But like, it really does feel, for me, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for me, it is truly a childlike feeling when I'm performing. And then I feel like the parent when I'm a writer. And then if I'm a producer, then I'm like the not the grandparent, but like the manager of an entire, like that's when I'm really like, just like always waiting for the bad
news. Right. There's too many things going on.
I'm not built for it. There's some people that are so built for producing and they're so good at it. Like, you know, Tina and Jeff and Eric Gurian and all these people that we've worked with, Robert Carlock, they're so good at producing things. And with me, I always have that stomach ache of like someone's about to tell me bad news or hard news.
Well, they usually are.
Yeah.
They're usually about to be like, hey, so you know how you wanted that car to move?
Right.
Yeah, well, it can move 1 inch at 1 mile an hour.
Didn't get the car. So
and the car, and we're locked out of the car.
Yeah. So can it be a bike, but we add the bike in later, so it's just near?
Oh, and then just by the way, we just heard that we don't have the VFX budget. So So is the scene necessary?
This is another random thing I was just thinking of that makes it so soul killing to go slow with stuff is when you fast, talking about the fast, slow paces of writing and producing stuff. I mean, producing product content, as you say, is SNL, you would be on this truly just like crazy roller coaster. Tuesday, Monday you meet the host. Tuesday you're writing all night. Wednesday you're delirious at the table read, and then Wednesday night it's all picked. But then until Saturday night, you might get your thing cut during air at 11:48, and they call you in the control room and go, "We either need to take 4 minutes out of it or we have to cut it." And so you never can relax. But then it's just done, and you go to the after party and it's done, and you go like this and you go to the next week. But so rejection is fast, but you get it so often that you get used to it.
And you always have another opportunity. You always feel like there's another
it's
chance.
like, okay, I'll get something on this week. But man, when you write other forms, I mean, I feel, and I've done it for quite a few years now, but like I really truly feel for people that every single year do a pilot, and because most pilots don't get picked. I've had a bunch of pilots not get picked, but like if you do a pilot or a script that get developed and then not picked, it is so soul killing and so hard, and because you have worked on it for so long, and it's like,
and then after that
a long time, and you look on your desktop and you have 400 versions of this pilot, and you're just like, oh my God, I just spent this much of my life on this. And
I remember writing, I wrote a movie. I've only written one movie, and I think it just went in a shredder. I don't know, but basically I wrote it, and then it was due at my due date when I was pregnant. And because I'm a last minute type, I'm like, the first baby is usually 2 weeks late. So then
pushing, I'll be writing. I'm going to push right till
so I was writing, the night before at the writer's room, and then my son came 3 weeks early. So I had the baby, and then I had my son, and then I didn't take that much time before I started trying to finish this movie that I think no one read. I was like pumping in, like the bathroom at this writing space I go to. And I was like, I don't think anyone read it. I don't think anyone read it. And I got paid, but I was like, and that's what part of the reason why I love television is that if you're part of a series, you do it. I know seasons are getting sort of shorter and shorter and shorter until they'll just become 30-minute one-off movies. But
they'll just be
flip. It's a postage stamp. But it does feel like, oh, it's nice. You get to live in a world and you get to tell multiple stories and know you get to, at least for the season that you're picked up. Who knows in the future.
That's why I liked recurring characters, because I always used to think this feels almost like a little series, because, you would always say, well, what happened to them last time? It's not like last time on the cheerleaders or whatever it is. It's like, but you go, what happened to them, and what would be funny as the follow-up to that. And you'd at least be able to use, because the hard thing about sketches is that you do something, and then if it did great, you're like, can't I just do that and just keep doing that? And that's what's great about a recurring character. They don't do them as often now, but it's
you change it just enough so that it feels fresh and different, but you still get
like a series when you change the scenario. Girls5eva, they go through this week, they go through this week, they go on a trip this week, and so it's like you have their voices in your head. You can channel those, and you just set them up for something. How would they react to this? And I love that, and that's why I think it has always been hard for me when I do a new project with new characters. You're trying to create the characters, then you get 1,000 notes on, could this character be more this? And then the other note from someone else is, could this character be less this? And you're trying to chase all these people's opinions. And I wish that I had the financial skills and also the just emotional
You
patience.
mean money? Financial skills meaning money?
Yeah, just like handling, I'm getting better at it, but like handling things to really have time, not be so like, I gotta work. I gotta, I've got to keep working.
You mean like Larry David, where he's like, you know what, I'll do one season of Curb whenever the locusts come out. I'll do another season of Curb.
Right. People that are just like,
what a luxury.
Money, and they're
he earned it.
I might work for my like 70th birthday. But like just steadily working just to pay your bills and live your life or whatever. But I wish sometimes that I could write so many more things on spec where I write them ahead of time and come with the confidence of loving something that I've already done, even though it would be painful because it'll still get pulled apart some. There's something about that power to bring it in with a movie script or whatever and say, here's a movie I wrote, read it and tell me what you think, is different than when you're developing a movie. They're paying you to develop it and they are so enmeshed inside.
Becomes committee. Yeah. And I mean, that was one of the gifts of this show was that was kind of the plan, rolling out a new show for me. I had written on Kimmy Schmidt and other shows, but I hadn't been a showrunner. And so it was like the pitch captures a certain kind of tone that the show sets, but not really the kind of writing style that of constant joke cramming that I like. And so the plan we came up with, Tina and Robert and I were just like, why just write the pilot. So then, I could have a weird writer pitch where I'm awkward and I'm doing all that stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, here's the script. So see if you like it. If you like it and want to be in business with it, let's do it. And that was really a great gift because then I felt like I didn't have to juggle all those voices right in the beginning. I mean, it was like a nice way to ease in and be like, okay, this is the product we all want to make. And obviously I workshopped it with Tina and Robert, got their notes, got Universal's notes and stuff before we brought it out. But it was, that was a really cool, I was so happy we did it that way. I just
think it also just incites confidence in executives and people that are buying and putting on your product on the air to things of if they see that you've created something without their help. Because
they're like, oh, maybe we don't have to.
They're like, oh, she can do this. We don't have to worry. Because, when you come in and pitch and it sounds kind of vague and you're kind of like, I don't know, I was thinking maybe this, it makes me laugh. And then they're like, I don't know if she can do this. Maybe they're just worrying about me doing it. But it's such a Fonzie move to just be like, oh, and here it is, by the way, that I was talking about. Here it is. And just like drop it on the way out. It would be like being a fashion designer and telling people, trying to be hired for like a fashion house and telling them the kind of feel you like and things. And then at the end, you just walk out and you just have a model come through with one of your dresses.
Get a glimpse. Well, I did get to like drop that script, but I did have an awkward, weird thing where as part of my pitch, I made a fake CD that I wrapped, and I used to like do art stuff, painting and graphic design and stuff. So I like designed this fake CD of Girls5eva's heyday with fake track lists, just to give people an idea of like what kind of songs they sang.
So good.
But then they'd be like, one, I didn't want them to open it because I didn't have music, I didn't have songs. So I just had the weight of it.
It was a bunch of old porn that you had.
Yeah, no, it was actually like multiple CDs from the Jack Lemmon collection that I put inside just for the weight. So then I had to shrink wrap it so they wouldn't open it. But then I would give it to them all and they'd all like love it and be like, ooh, it keeps taking. I'm like, no, I have 10 pitches. I need those. I'm gonna need those back. And then I take them all back.
No.
So it wasn't as much.
You don't get to have my stuff. I think we're going to wrap up in a minute, but I wanted to ask you one last thing. Okay. You'll be mad at me for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Meredith, you are also a very gifted performer and very funny. If you and when you could write yourself a character in Girls5eva, what would you like to play in Girls5eva? Have you ever thought of it?
Oh my gosh. That's a really funny question. I don't know. First of all, I just also feel like you guys are just all such amazing performers. I would just be, it's just such a weird, I think I prefer to play if I were ever going to play someone, I would play just America's Weirdest Woman would be what I would feel most comfortable.
Like a super fan? Like
just a weird super fan that, has too many dogs. I don't know.
You're the mother of a young girl that you're trying to teach her all of the 90s music, and she's like at the concert with you, and she's like
she's trying to avoid me. She puts up a partition to try to keep her from me. But wait, I want to.
Mother and daughter, we are not sisters. Stop calling me girl like a gay man, and stop saying you rock. Stop doing that. You're my mother.
She's in a baby Bjorn, and she's a teenager, and she's in a baby Bjorn. Wait, but I do. Before we go, can we talk for a second and just congratulate you also on the Mapleworth murders?
Thank you.
Amazing. 3 nominations, correct, in short form, including a performance.
John Lutz, JB Smoove, and me for Mapleworth, and I just screamed at the top of my lungs because that is one of the most, like that and Girls5eva truly are my dream jobs, my dream shows. Like, and I absolutely adore AP Bio too. So I'm not trying to exclude that in any way, but
you're in everything.
But Mapleworth is like, I have dreamed. I was born at 50. I was born a matron. I love Angela Lansbury. I dreamed to play Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd sometime in my life. And like Angela Lansbury is everything. And I used to watch Murder, She Wrote constantly. So when he asked me to do that with him, we just had so much fun. And I loved my character Abigail's outfits. I had such cool outfits. And all my friends were in it, and including Tina, who was so funny, and my best friend James Anderson. And so it was such a joy to have that even mentioned in anything and then to be nominated for it was like a true joy, because it's going to be on Roku now, and we've kind of compressed these Quibi episodes into full 30-minute episodes. So it's so thrilling to be able to have someone see that, because when you love something so much and then people don't see it, it's really heartbreaking.
Yes. But you can hear your voice all over it. I was watching it last night, and you can just hear it be like, I'm not a fan of the kickstand. You're just like so many jokes that I can just hear your voice.
With a, like, her swear words have a little apostrophe, so it's like motherfucker.
My favorite.
We did this weird little thing where Haley Magnus, who is so fantastic as my niece,
she's wonderful.
Whenever we walked anywhere to go solve the crime, we did a thing where she was so gigantically tall, and her legs were like my length of my body. And we would turn in scenes where we'd turn, and I would walk along every line like this, very angular, and follow every path. And she would just jump over it. And it was like, it was always something that no one noticed, but we loved doing it so much. So I hope we get to do more Mapleworth in my life, because that, if I could do that in addition to the joy that I have doing your show, it's like truly where you just can't believe you're doing what you're doing, and grateful for it beyond belief.
Well, there's shows that you just watch and you're just like, oh my God, I would love to be in that room pitching jokes on your shirt blowing off when you're surprised or whatever.
I have to be topless and everything because my boobs are a member of sex.
It's part of your it's in your rider.
Joke I've gone with for a while.
Why change it? It's a chestnut. Well, you're amazing as Gloria. I mean, come on. It's like,
I love it. And I love the writing, and I am so going to scream at the top of my lungs during the Emmys in support of you, because for them to be recognizing you for that, it makes me feel like all is right with the world, because so many times you watch things and you're like, wait, what? Like, and this made perfect sense to be writing, and I'm so thrilled.
Thanks. Well, it's like a dream to be able to work with you. I still remember when I was a fan of I was a big fan of your writing and you as a performer. And I think the first time I met you was after I wrote for one of the Golden Globes, and we were at the after party when people had parties at Chateau Marmont, and I saw you in the bathroom, and I think I just cornered you, and I was like, I like you very much. You are very funny, and I am a writer, and I love
you.
You.
Are too.
And you were like, thank you. Like, you were very nice. You were very nice, but I was like, I think I freaked her out. Anyway,
I was,
but now it's a dream. I get to work.
Probably really drunk and trying to cover. I'm like, no, son.
Wonderful.
Tina's always said to me, was constantly saying to me throughout many years, wait, you and Meredith have never hung out together? Wait, you don't know Meredith? Wait, you know Meredith, right? You would love Meredith. Meredith is your people. And then we finally did it. We did
it. Woo-hoo,
7 days before my retirement, we pulled it off.
Perfect.
Damn it.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. I could talk to you all day.
I could too. Thank you for being on my podcast.